So today I'm going to talk a little bit about my line and wash technique, and I'm going to also be doing a small painting demonstration. And this little video is primarily going to be about very minimal painting. I don't really think you need to overpaint, to paint an awful lot. There's an awful lot of brilliant artists out there who do amazingly detailed, rich paintings. Personally, I quite like a more minimal feel. I think it gives a freshness to an image. So if I could just quickly show you some, this is a Rhodia sketchbook, and it has relatively thin paper, so it just tends to lend itself to minimal painting rather than doing complicated things. This one here is a nice example of just how a few splashes of paint can give a bit of liveliness to an image. So with this image here, you can see what I've done is I've used 2 water-soluble inks over the top of a sketch that's been done with a black waterproof ink. Something like this little scene here, which I think is Norfolk, is I've just painted in the roofs, and I think the human eye is very clever in knowing that this is foliage, this is a tree, this is a river. To a certain extent, the human eye will fill in. So let's skip ahead here through some of this. Yeah, and this is what I would say is a more traditional line and wash drawing, where pretty much all of it's coloured to some extent. I mean, some of this the far distant stuff, there isn't any lines because it just softens it and makes it look further away. And then obviously in the foreground you have more contrast, darker tones, which adds some depth to the image. Yeah, this is a little portrait here. This is, again, just shows you that you really don't have to colour in a line and wash drawing. You could just colour in around the outside of it, and it helps lift it off the page. Again, that's quite a minimal colour. Some of these sketches are my daughter's. She's a fantastic artist, and she loves putting things in my sketchbook. Well, it's our sketchbook, we share it together. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Foxgloves. She did this wonderful sketch of some crows, these little chaps here. So this is what I'm going to be colouring in today. And this is a drawing of Stanage Edge, which is some crags near me, a hillside with very iconic cliff face on. So yeah, I could go in very detailed and start putting individual tones of this path in, and the moss on that tree there, and maybe, I don't know, the tones of the hedges as they go off into the far distance. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to zone it. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a dark green wash on all the grass running down here, and maybe fade that into this area, but I'll leave that white free there. And then I'll put just a simple brown or grey wash on the crags, the same on here, and maybe just a couple of little dots of colour on the millstones. And then I won't do anything in here, leave that white, and then I'm going to put a blue in the sky. And I'm going to be using a bit of paper to do some swatches on, just to see what my colours are going to be like. So starting with a little bit of Daniel Smith sap green, let's put some lines in. So this cardi paper is quite rough, so you get some lovely dry brush marks on it. This isn't rough, so you're not going to get that effect on this drawing, so that's nice for the green. This is a really good technique because it frees you up from worrying too much about it, and what it also means is that you really concentrate on the sketch, because the sketch is the thing that you really see as an underlining component. It's the foundations, the bones. So there's quite a lot of detail in the sketching of the crag and shade, so I don't think of all the colours this one can be the softest. I think that'll dry lighter, so that's probably fine. I might even water it down just a tiny bit more. There we go. Right, so there's the colours. They complement themselves and look quite nice together. They sit quite well. So here we go. So what I'm going to do then is start here. Try not to go over Now, this is quite wet, this brush, which is good, so I've got a puddle that I can sort of push and pull about a bit. So as you can see, I'm keeping the brush in one sort of plane, not really thinking a lot here, just sketching. So you don't want to be leaving any edge for too long unless you're happy with it, because it'll leave a line. Going behind here. A suggestion of some bits there. There we go, done. Now if I wanted to, I could put some little spatters in there, maybe on that side. Just adds a bit of interest. If you look at the shape of this, it's all kind of heading up towards a point about here. So I'm going to use this as a bit of a focal point. I'll probably start painting here and I'll paint out that way. So you'll see I'm making decisions about shapes and things. I could mask off and just put a rectangle of sky in, that would work quite well. I could do a million different things. I could leave it, I didn't really have to paint it, but I'm going to just show you what is a bit of a reflection of how the green's been done. Right. So even though this brush holds an awful lot of water, it's pretty good for detail stuff. Alright, I'm just going to do a few jiggly wigglies. Again with my funny skies. So I'm just again trying to replicate a little bit of that, of the ground. So there we go. I'm literally running out of blue. I never mix enough paint. So one of the things I always forget to do is always mix twice the paint you need. Right, okay. So what do you think? Shall we leave that there? It's quite nice, isn't it? It's fresh. It's got a lot of life to it. But I think what I might do is give that a hair dry, and then I'll put in the very, very dilute stone colour on there. So we can start filling this in then. Start up here and work our way down. I really think that this technique it's quite beautiful because it's so very simple, and as long as your sketch has some life about it, it doesn't matter that you're not putting loads of different colour and tone and shades on it. I think also it would lend itself quite well to prints, or even something like something that would go on a t-shirt or something. You know, it's quite graphic in the style. So I'm nearly done here. Now there's always a temptation to think, well, I'll put a bit of shadow in there, I'll go in and put another colour in over there, or I could put a bit of dark there, but that's not really the point. This is more of a tinting exercise than it is a painting one. So you're really just tinting these components of the drawing in different ways. Okay, we're nearly done here. The other nice thing about this process is it's so fast. Right. That's it. So what I want to do now is just let that dry, and then we'll have another look at it with the colour on. So here we are with the finished version. Now, as you can see, it's just a very gentle tinting. It's nothing particularly fancy. You might think, oh, that looks fresh and lively and the sketch is great. Or you might think it looks half finished and I'm not keen. But the reason why I'm showing you this technique is because it does help me, or it helps me when I've done a lovely sketch and I don't want to risk putting something over the top of that will take away any of the structure or the nice line work underneath. And also, if you're relatively new to line and wash technique and you're quite happy with your drawing and how you're progressing with your drawing, and you want to start, you know, progressing, moving into the world of paints, and then really quite quickly you can start thinking, well, I'll just slap a bit of paint in here, you know, give that a bit of a go, and you could just do a bit of the sky. You don't have to make a big commitment to being very detailed with your watercolor, because frankly, line and wash technique is often so much fun and it's so fast that the more loose things can look, sometimes actually I think it's better. I think things have a bit more life when it's all a bit messy and mixed up. So there you go, 3 colours. So yeah, there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you took something from it. And my brain's not working very well today, so I'm sorry for all the stumbling, talking and rambling. Yeah, I hope you're having a good day.